At Liverpool Comic Con with the legend, the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley. Mick, your line has been long all weekend. You've had so many people wanting to meet you. Mankind, Dude Love, Cactus Jack, whatever you want to call you, you are a legend.
Thanks.
What's it been like?
It's been a lot of fun. I'm starting now that it's the end of the second day. I'm starting to feel it. I'm yawning a little bit.
Yeah.
But then you see something like the family with the three children dressed up as the three faces of Foley. And it's just so, it's energizing. It really is to see people, and some of them coming back for a third or a fourth time, do the photo ops to come back, get other things signed. So I have not done a con in the UK, I think, in 6 or 7 years. It's my first one in England proper in 8 years. That one didn't end well. My check bounced, but Monopoly is always a great company. My first event, but it certainly won't be my last event.
Is it humbling, these experiences with fans? You know, you reflect on the days early on, ECW, going to death matches in Japan, to having three characters and a whole story career that have been immortalized in wrestling. Even Travis Scott sort of named himself after you, Cactus Jack, which is crazy, isn't it?
It is. I was asked on my podcast, a fan had a question whether I was upset or thinking of taking legal action, and I was like, I'm not going to sue somebody for being a fan, and in his own way, allowing people. Yeah, he was inspired by me. He's allowing people to learn where the origin of his name came from. The only problem I have is when I went through the drive-thru at McDonald's where they had the Cactus Jack meal, and I said, do I get a discount if I'm the original Cactus Jack? And they didn't seem to know what I was talking about.
In terms of those early days I mentioned, ECW, those death matches that you had in Japan, What were those days like? You're scratching and clawing to get known, and did you think that you would ever introduce hardcore wrestling to WWE?
Well, no, that wasn't even within the realm of possibility, because at one point I think WWE actually publicly apologized for using a garbage can, that it was thought to be too violent. And I like to think that maybe I helped persuade the powers that be that there was a beauty in that type of wrestling. And to this day, when you see something like the tables, ladders, and chairs, or you see Money in the Bank, Falls Count Anywhere, hopefully it's a little bit of the Foley feeling still being around.
When you look at two matches that I feel are some of your best throughout your whole career, they were up against guys that hadn't had the hardcore experience that you had. Yeah. Randy Orton and Edge, two very young guys in their career. What was like introducing them to that side of wrestling? And they really did flourish as well, didn't they? Did they impress you a lot? Well,
Edge was a lot further into his career than Randy was still pretty new. And it seemed like it was something they needed to get to that next level. Especially with Randy, it was almost immediate. I was able to catch the red-eye flight home from Edmonton, Alberta, through Toronto, Canada. And when I got home for Raw and Randy was announced, you could sense that he had gained so much respect in one night. So that was a match that did a lot for both of us, and that was the case with me and Edge too. He wanted to show the world a different side to him, and he did.
Didn't you say that was your favourite match of your career as well, the Orton match from Backlash?
Yeah, the Orton match was my favourite, and as of 11 months ago, I saw a YouTube video just yesterday where he said that was still his favourite pay-per-view match. Yeah.
And you foresaw the legend that he was going to become himself as well?
I did. I kind of had my pick of things to do. Went into Mr. McMahon's office, pitched him an idea where I would wrestle for the WWE title, and he had no interest in that. And I was like, I've got an idea for Randy Orton. And so I saw a lot of potential, and clearly he has lived up to that potential and then some.
Obviously, I'm going to have to mention the Undertaker match, Hell in a Cell. I know you guys watched the match back recently. Yeah. What was that experience like? And you talk through your whole thought processes going into the match, during the match, and after the match. Yeah. What was it like seeing the legacy that he has left, seeing him walk away from the sport now as well? It must be emotional.
Yeah, I'm laughing to myself because the first thing I said to him when I saw him, I think it was the day before my birthday or 2 days before my birthday, and we were at Walt Disney World with the family. And as soon as I saw him, I said, "You are the only person I would cut short my Disney vacation for."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
So it was really nice to spend that time together. Because he was the one who told me in 2013 that what we had done was going to outlive us both, that people would be talking about that match after we're both dead and gone, and I think that is the case.
Were those spots hard to convince Vince McMahon to let happen? Because, like you said, it was very hard to convince him to let the hardcore style come to WWE. I couldn't imagine what those conversations were like with Vince saying, "Listen, I'm going to drop about 20 foot, and... it's not going to be great. There's no way of masking that. It's going to hurt."
I approached him with such a casual attitude as if it was going to be a piece of cake, and I must have been pretty convincing. But after the match, he came up to me and he said, "You have no idea how much I appreciate what you've just done for this company, but I never want to see anything like that again."
Yeah.
And that added another year or two to my career.
In terms of those spots, when you look at the most painful, is that just like far and beyond? Are they the most painful, or is it something a bit more obscure that you would say?
Well, I did lose my ear almost 30 years ago. I'm growing the hair out now, but so you can't really see it as readily. But going on 30 years this coming March, since I lost my ear in Germany, that was quite painful. And a couple of the barbed wire matches I had with the late, great Terry Funk were no day at the park either.
Underrated spot that looked really painful was when Big Show threw you off the stage in the Buried Alive match. That was a thump, wasn't it?
One short hop into the hole, yeah. And it's funny because it's not that anyone else could not have done it. First of all, there are not that many Buried Alive matches.
Yeah.
But I just thought, I'm not a good athlete. I don't have a lot of spring in my step. But I was like, he's 7'2", 450 pounds. With his help, I think I can make it, and I did. So I was asked if it hurt, and my answer was, I was asked by actually the son of Brian Grazer, who's the first or second most powerful man in all of Hollywood, if it hurt when the Big Show threw me into the grave, and I went, I was just so happy I made it in that I don't even remember feeling the pain. I did feel it the next day, but I was pretty satisfied with that effort.
Tough question this, because you've been in there with some absolute legends, some of the best in history. 3 best wrestlers you've ever competed against, and then who would you say is the greatest professional wrestler of all time?
Oh, well, I think Terry Funk is the greatest professional wrestler of all time because he made it so easy to believe, and he evolved as he aged into an even better wrestler. I'd say the 3 best wrestlers I ever wrestled would be Terry Funk, Shawn Michaels, and Ric Flair.
We've seen a lot of people be starstruck by you today, and other people here, all the actors here today. Has there ever been a time where someone's recognized you, you're like, wait, you're famous, you're a superstar, this is crazy that you know who I am and you're geeking out over who I am?
Former President George W. Bush gave me the bang bang. Wow. Yeah. And I wasn't like a fan of his, but after that it was kind of hard to dislike the guy if he knows my catchphrase,
The TNA run.
Yeah.
That was fun, but it was obviously a bit of a difficult part of your career because there was the concussions that you were dealing with, but you still put on some tremendous matches for the fans. What was the highlight of that?
Oh, I really liked the camaraderie with Jeremy Borash. Yeah. I thought the story of me kind of moving in and edging Jeff Jarrett out from his own job was pretty well done, and I thought the payoff to my rivalry with Abyss was really good. So I did have some really good moments there, and I should have appreciated that situation more. I think there's a life lesson about appreciating things in life before it's too late. So I'm still proud to call Dixie Carter a friend of mine. I'll probably see her in December, her and her husband, and really look back on that time with fondness. You
won the world title against Sting in lockdown as well, Lethal Lockdown.
Right about that, I did. Yeah.
There, right?
Yeah, that was a good. Yeah, because I put so much pressure on myself, and I thought we came up with a pretty good. Came through with a pretty good match. Really difficult to be on a card that's 100% cage matches, and every person in front of it going before you is younger and more athletic. Yeah. and then it was up to us to tell a story, and I think we did that.
Final one, if there was a match type that you didn't compete in, which you competed in near enough every match type that you would have loved to have competed in, and then if there was a wrestler that you didn't get to face who you would have loved to have faced.
Well, I would have loved to have paid off a little storyline in TNA with Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
That would have been fun. Man, I would have loved to have had a battle of words with Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
And I think I wish that I could have, in my prime, done another cinematic match. In a ways, the match with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson during halftime of the Super Bowl, which I won, by the way.
Yeah.
I beat him twice. That was kind of cinematic.
Yeah.
But I think if, WWE's really raised the bar as far as those things go. And I think I could have had one last really good match, maybe, 8 or 9 years ago, in a cinematic fashion.